We knew from our visits to the national cemeteries that some directors had held on to historic burial ledgers. Many of them date back to the mid to late 1860s.
We have approximately 160 ledgers that were maintained by the quartermaster of the U.S. Army, and those were transferred to the National Archives probably in the late 1930s. More recently, the Veterans Administration identified 60 more that were spread across the nation in various national cemeteries. Oh, we want to go back one.
Did you see one? So James H. Robinson is the only Medal of Honor recipient buried at Memphis. We digitized over 9,000 pages. Once the ledgers were digitized, we packaged up the ledgers and sent them to the National Archives and Records Administration for safekeeping. Ancestry has been working with the National Archives for a number of years, digitizing records that they find are important to genealogists. We told them we had all these burial ledgers that were digitized, that we could provide for them if they in turn would index them for us.
We've actually combined the 60 ledgers that the National Cemetery Administration had already digitized with the ones that NARA held themselves. And it's part of our collection online that you can search. It's called the U.S. Burial Registers, Military Posts and National Cemeteries, 1862 to 1960. Currently on Ancestry.com, there are over 230 million military records. This collection alone is over 550,000 of those.
144 volumes of burial registers were shipped from the National Archives in D.C. to Ancestry's office in Silver Spring, Maryland. The archives maintain custody of those records through the shipment and through the scanning process, and 7 archives technicians went through each volume page by page to make sure that all the information that was necessary for veterans to do research was visible and could safely be imaged by Ancestry.com camera operators.
The indexing took over 3,000 hours to key the individual records and the names. We have people here that are trained on how to handle these documents by the National Archives staff. They specifically teach us how to handle the records, how to support the books, how to support each page so that there's no question that anything will ever be damaged. We go page by page. We save each of the pages at a high resolution, and then we combine those with the indexes that we've already created. And the two are served up on Ancestry.com for the veterans to find their records.
The benefit to VA and to NCA in particular was the indexing of these records. Previously, you would have to know where someone was buried and go search them out in that cemetery's burial ledger. Now we have the ability to just go online, type in a name to their search engine, and find out where that soldier is buried. This one is the 3rd page of C's for New Bern National Cemetery in North Carolina. And there's a Charles W. Churchill. But what we can now do with Ancestry is we can go to the U.S. Burial Registers, Military Posts, National Cemeteries, 1862 to 1960 on Ancestry.com and type in his name. And first we have all the indexed information, his name, his death date, the cemetery ledger, the burial place, the age of death, and the birth year. And then we can pull up the actual page of the New Bern Burial Register that shows Charles W. Churchill. We wanted to get the ledgers out of the hands of the cemeteries. We wanted to get them out of daily use. A lot of them were already falling apart. Some had been inexpertly taped back together.
One of our main missions is preserving the documentation and the records that we have for future researchers and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, so they can come in and see the same records that researchers are looking at today.
For people to connect with their families and connect to that past is very important, and we are very proud to be able to offer that to the Veterans Administration and through NARA. The partnership between the National Cemetery Administration, the National Archives and Records Administration, and Ancestry.com is invaluable.